Okay, we're live. Got the countdown timer up there. Patrick, we got a ton of updates. Oh my God. Patrick,
Well, that's what we're here for.
yes, we're going to.
We'll also put in the work, but the updates are the work. So
Yeah. Hey, we got a.
Good morning.
that's what we're here for.
Yes, we're going to.
We'll also put in the work, but the updates are the work. So
Yeah. Hey, we got a.
Good morning.
We have a Tough Shed workshop being delivered the week of June 19th. I may enlist your help. I'm running a 50 amp
service.
sub service out there from, I just got the box. I was looking at the box today. Yeah, running it, doing it all super professional. Gonna end up moving my cleat walls out there, putting in a skylight, air conditioner.
Nice.
So if you're interested, I may beg, borrow, steal your help.
Please. I'll come down the street with my little red wagon full of power tools.
Okay. Ozzy,
We'll
get
build
out
a
of
fort.
here.
We'll build a fort together.
I would love that.
Are you going to have a sign that says no girls allowed?
Yeah. What is that? Calvin and Hobbes. What was that club? Gross. Get rid of slimy girls.
I don't remember that. Oh, Patrick, babe, can we get? This is not going to work. Yeah. He's going to tear down a wire, do something.
All right, down you go. Down.
Or at least we need to get a doggy headset for him.
Just down. Patrick, a new feature on Podbean. Sorry, I should have given you a brief. This is the brief right now. This is how we roll. I'm going to be doing the Road to 500. See, play on words. Road. Giveaway.
Ah.
So I'll be announcing that today. Also, we are in just a few moments. Well, we're going to do it right now. I was about to say F it, but we're not supposed to do that within the first 7 minutes of going live.
There's ethical criteria to this?
To YouTube?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh.
Once we're monetized, so they banned, like, you can't say the F word. There was this whole list. But they pretty much got rid of it due to a ton of feedback because they were making it retroactive.
This is within the first 7 minutes of your show. You can't.
All it is right now, you shouldn't have a ton of repetitive F bombs, and there's kind of a, just be like F F F F F F F F F F F F F F F F F. But I guess the first thing first 7 seconds. Yeah, first 7 seconds, you're not supposed to be like, what the is up? So anyway, Patrick, Podbean, who I use, our audio subscriptions for the audio podcast is getting a ton of downloads. So we're using Podbean. Today's going to be the first time we're doing a live broadcast through them. I'm going to give you access to the interface. You could be the co-host. People can do live call-ins from there. And there's a whole separate chat and everything that goes on. So got an error, but I just didn't. To get better sound quality and avoid echo, please use a mic. Understood. Okay, there, babes, check it out. Start.
That does help. All right.
We're live on the air.
Dead silence.
No one.
Cricket, cricket.
Patrick, do you want to go to Podbean and see? There's a whole co-host, speakers, call-in, audio effects. Oh, press
start.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, Patrick, before we do anything, okay, let's just roll the intros because, man, I got them. I got an update. Judy and I got an update. Check out our smiles.
This podcast contains adult themes and language. The views expressed here are our own opinions and experiences. We are not medical professionals.
In this podcast, we discuss our opinions about mental health, sobriety, addiction, and our pursuit of happiness and peace. This is Sober Mind.
Good morning. Happy Saturday. Wow. Man, we got a fucking mental health update today.
Big time.
Holy shit, Patrick.
Way to hit the F-bomb 7 seconds in.
That's right.
All
Good.
right.
We're not monetized yet.
We are unleashed.
Yep. Good morning, Michelle.
Morning, Sissy.
So just to make everyone aware, we are broadcasting live on Podbean. Podbean live right now. What the hell is that sound? Is that you, Patrick?
That was me. Didn't go on mute.
So our podcast host, Podbean, they've got a service where you can go live on there, which, heads up, Michelle, if you ever join, we can do co-hosts and speakers. We can do live call-ins, all of that good jazz. So yeah, we are, let me just get it going right now as we speak while the Hobbiton music is going, making me feel good. I know it's Patrick's favorite. We are doing a Road to 500 subscribers giveaway. So the Rode Pod mic and a Wave XLR interface. I love this thing and I love this thing, but I like our Blue Sonos and my Rodecaster Pro 2 better. Huge price point difference, but if you want to get started in some podcasting, this will get you going. Patrick is an audio engineer. He'll tell you this is a damn good setup right here to get going.
Damn good.
Fantastic. So the rules are, once we hit 500 subscribers, you need to have had subscribed and comment in any one of the episodes.
We'll have a drawing.
Yeah. Drawing. Pick a random person. You have to have been subscribed and commented on when you joined or subscribed to Sober Mind. That'll happen once we hit 500 subs. Go look it up. This is not cheap shit right here, buddy. You want this? You want to start your own podcast? Or just hook it up and make recordings of yourself doing something? I don't know. Anyway, that's what we'll be doing.
Maybe tell your own Paul Bunyan story.
That's right.
There you go.
Oh man, kids, I've got pink eye.
Okay. There we go. We're back. Go back, listen to the Paul Bunyan story. Epic stuff. Okay. We got the Podbean live broadcast announcement out of the way.
Yep.
We got our Rode Pod mic and Elgato Wave XLR.
Road to 500.
Road to 500.
Yep.
Out of the way. Oh, my God. We're going to give an update, Patrick. You ready?
I'm strapped in.
Jesus
I've been ready.
Christ almighty.
Right?
God. Okay. It's been 7 days. Oh, good morning, Mom. It's been
Good morning.
Yeah.
Hey, awesome.
It has been 7 days since I got off of Effexor. 150 milligrams. I've been on it for 1 year. I quit cold turkey. This is not medical advice.
And not suggested.
Yeah. So don't do.
This podcast contains adult themes and language.
Remember at the beginning, it's not medical
We are
advice.
not medical advisors.
So my psychiatrist and I talked about tapering off. If you go down the internet rabbit hole and look at the tapering off of this, it's basic. Long story short, you go from 150 to 100 to 75, whatever, in a stretch of time. Everyone's body's different. And it depends on how much you were on and for how long. There's a ton of different variables. There's a ton of variables on how your kidneys and liver process stuff and how your body and brain detox. So I said, fuck it. I'm going cold turkey. Because a lot of people get down to like 37.5 milligrams and then quit, and they still have the same freaking withdrawal. Patrick, does that make any sense? No, it does not, but it happens. People be like, I went through 10 days of hell, so I don't know, just rip off the Band-Aid. That's what I did. I'm not recommending you do that. So you guys
Not
saw...
unless you're excessively prepared to go through the mire.
Yeah, excessively prepared. Sorry, I forgot to get the background music going. Got some Stream Beats by Harris Heller, not sponsored. It's just good stuff, and it's free. Okay, so the withdrawal started last Saturday, and it was intense, man.
Yeah, you started out by sharing with us the zippy zaps. You couldn't even turn
Yeah.
your head.
Yeah. That and
all.
along with all different kinds of emotional swings and oh God, just the list goes on.
Thanks, Judy. Thank you, Patrick. You saw I was distracted because I was like, shit, Stream Beats is not coming through on the Mac.
I'm here.
Yeah, it was as a bystander watching somebody go through that, it's not comfortable because there's absolutely nothing you can do to help them except for just to be there as a sounding board and to help them to get something for them or to that's pretty much it. That's all you can do is to comfort them, and that's it.
I hate to draw a comparison, but the first time when a kid gets like sick, where they're old enough to be walking and talking, and they get so dastardly sick that they're just like, you take them to the doctor, and then you're just downtime, but they're just not the same. I realize it's not a fair comparison, but I'm trying to say as a person, the support and the loving and caring, it was kind of gutting to me that I felt so ineffective to help, and the best I could do is just be there. So that's a long journey in itself to get to be able to hold space. So I'm glad you were there to do so with John. And I'm glad you made your dealing as well, processing that, because you have your own emotions and feelings on the situation to process through.
Oh, we're gonna get into that too. Patrick,
right.
I gotta.
All right.
So let's start. Saturday, I woke up, felt like I had the worst hangover of my life. I had nightmares, super lucid nightmares. I almost pissed the bed. I'm like, I got to get out of this dream. I'm about to pee the bed. Anyway, fast forward to Sunday, it progressed. The physical aspects were the brain zaps. I know, Patrick, you were asking me, like, is it constant? No, it isn't. But it's like if I were to look left or right with my eyeballs, up or down, it's an intense shock. And these were so bad that it was audible. Like I would hear like the old school flash cube. If you're super old like I am, you'll remember that. Remember, Patrick, you remember those? A square, you had to rotate it.
I do.
Had like 4, you could let. That's what it audibly sounded like. Okay, fast forward to Tuesday. I knew this was coming. I knew the emotional basket case train wreck avalanche shit was gonna hit, but it hit me hard.
You forgot the vomiting in between there.
Oh yeah, threw up one morning, just had the shits. This is worse than like a heroin. Literally, it is. Go check it out. It's worse than heroin withdrawal. Heroin withdrawal lasts like 48 hours and you're out of it. Your body's like, I'm good. We're all set. This is just long drawn out. The emotional part on Tuesday was something that was out of this world. I had a mental breakdown. I had a fuse that was like a 1/4 inch long. I got set. Patrick, I was thinking to myself, if you want to be an epic MMA fighter, go on Effexor for like a year and then quit and then get into the ring. You'll be raged.
Yeah.
I had just unadulterated rage, man. Unexcusable rage. uncontrollable. I could not get to Judy made a comment about something. It was super superficial. And I was just like, I went to the bedroom, I laid down, I came back out, and I said, I don't have the mental capacity to fucking deal with any comments you're making right now. I mean that in the most loving, sincere way that I can possibly. I'm going back into the bedroom.
Needless to say, I left the house and went and had a coffee and a scone and said, okay, I'm going to go treat myself. Bye. I can't deal with this right now, so you have fun.
Patrick.
I'm going to go have a coffee and a scone and not
give
feel
you
bad
your
about
space,
it.
literally. This is your space.
Yeah, you enjoy it.
The only way I can describe it is it's so... I was very conscious of it, but man, talk about lack of control over it. I was just like, I got it. I should go hide in a cave somewhere. So fast forward a couple hours later, I was doing projects, trying to keep myself distracted. I started crying. I started tearing shit apart, just I had a manic episode that I haven't had in a long time. Not a depressive, not a positive one, but just like a middle of the road. My brain, I could feel it like just cleansing and purging. Started crying. Cried so hard, I cannot remember in my adult life crying so hard. It felt horrible and so good at the same time. I felt that deep. It is visceral, like emotions waking up. It was coming out. And I did that about 3 times throughout the day. Patrick, when I texted you, I was thinking about calling you, but I should have, but I would have been like, Patrick, I didn't know I don't know what you could have done. There was no helping. There was no consoling. I just had to go. I went to sleep that night. Woke up still emotional on Wednesday. It slowly started to get better. I ran every day. By the way, I'm on day 65 of a 5K a day streak. I'm not announcing I'm streaking. That's hell. I could quit tomorrow if I want, but it just so happens that I've been running that long.
I think Ozzy might have something to say about that.
Yeah. Oswald Cornelius, our little pity bull. I don't know. I just slowly started getting better. Today's the first day on a run that now I have to force myself to get the zaps now, which is great. So this shit could last
It's been 2
months.
weeks now?
1 week. Last Saturday.
Wow. I think because you've been through so much, so traumatic of episodes that it feels like it's been a longer duration of time.
Yeah, the emotional, oh my God. It's just, for anyone that goes through this, I
It's
don't
only
know.
been a week? Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Last Saturday is when we announced. Okay, well, the last pill I took was Thursday before last. So, if you decide to do this, obviously seek medical advice, but figure out a support system. I had the luxury of not having to go to work, so there's no way I could work and go through this. It'd be fucking termination. You're like, Mr. Lund, you are fucking fired. You can't be running down the hall looking at the vice president going, fuck you, and fuck you. You're cool. Fuck you. It's like, just walk out of the building. Fuck!
Have we passed 7 seconds yet?
It's bad news, man. It's scary, Patrick, because I think that we have. Yeah, we discuss on this channel, especially the struggles we've had with mental everything, but it's a little bit scary to get to a place where it is uncontrollable and you are unconsolable. There's nothing that can help. Your brain is, like we always said, we're so feeble, yet we think we're so mystical and powerful. Fast forward. There's the drama of that. There's more physical things too, as the dopamine and serotonin is starting to get back to where it's supposed to be. And norepinephrine is the big one that Effexor controls. I've been having restless leg syndrome, so if I don't get to sleep right away, if I get startled awake again, then I start to get restless leg. I have to get up and do squats. It's a whole thing. about 5 days in, what made me feel really good, I want to thank the YouTube community for this. I posted a short about the Effexor withdrawal, and Patrick, people are like, I went through it. Here's, you know, everyone's different. Your mileage will vary, but one guy's like, yeah, 5 days in, you'll start to feel better. Because I said I was on 150 for about a year. So, there's millions of people out there that have gone through the same thing, different doses, different times, but you're bound to find someone. And so the comments that I got back were really helpful. They're like, yeah, you're almost at the end of it. Keep going.
The responses were really, really supportive, which was very nice to hear, to read.
So fast forward, I've said that 3 times now. I apologize. I'm a mess still, but I'm on the mend. Yesterday, I had my coffee and I stood out on the back porch. The sun didn't come up yesterday, so it was the day before. But Patrick, I'm getting the happiness back. I was trying to explain it that, like, I can take a deep breath and I'm like, oh man, it feels good. When you're on antidepressants, and especially the 3 that I've been on, by the way, I quit another one, the mood stabilizer, 3 days ago. There's nowhere near the withdrawal symptoms, but Patrick, I can't sequester my spirit anymore with this stuff. It helped me. It really controlled the panic attacks in the beginning. It helped with a lot of anxiety, but this is my love-hate with doctors and psychiatrists. They should really try to drive this a little bit more. And we tell everybody, like, you got to steer these conversations with your psychiatrist when you're doing medication management. But they can only go off of what you're telling them. So they think that you're having this effect. They'll go, I will give you this pill. It'll counteract the other one. Next thing you know, you're a fucking electrified walking mushroom without any soul left.
5 different medications.
You have to realize that. They're like, all right, I need to fix this. I was telling Judy, like, there was moments, especially in the last year, where I'd be happy, but you can tell with your spirit that it's a fake it's a manufactured happiness, if that makes sense. That's the only way I can describe it. You're like,
or muted happy.
You have a smile, but you don't feel that joy for things. So here I am, doing well, passionate about things, getting motivated again. I will keep a close eye on everything that's going on and definitely update folks. I'm still on the 200 milligrams of sustained release Wellbutrin. I'm going to stay on that. That's what really helps with my depression. And I'll investigate that later. I'll come off that. We don't want to do everything cold turkey. What are you looking around at, babe? Is there a ghost behind you?
Hearing one of the dogs getting into something.
There. Do you want to go look?
I will in a minute.
Ozzy. He's probably out there eating nuts and bolts, steel plates.
Dog gets everything.
You want to give your update? So
Okay.
how it started with my comment to you?
Yes. So being the age that I'm in and going through menopause.
100.
I look pretty good for 100. So going through menopause, as a lot of the women that are out there know, that you go through the emotional swings and all the physical and psychological stuff that you go through. And what I was going through was I was hitting the major swings of depression. So I talked to a psychiatrist, and I was also going through the hot flashes and the night sweats and all of the other joys of menopause. And so she recommended some medications for me to deal with the hot flashes and the depression, which was fantastic. And so I started taking Cymbalta, and it worked. It did what it was supposed to do. It helped to lift me up out of that depression. It helped to stabilize me emotionally from where I was at, which was exactly what I needed. I needed basically somebody to hit that reset button and to shake me out of the depression that I was in, the deep funk that I was in, that I couldn't pull myself out of myself. no matter how many times I sat and I talked to myself or tried to downward dog my way out of it, or, tried to therapeutic myself out of it, or to meditate myself out of it. I just couldn't get myself out of that deep, deep funk. And I knew it was hormonal. So at least at that point, I kind of had an idea of, this is chemical. And so it's not, all in my head. So I started taking Cymbalta, and it did what it needed to do. And then I was on it for about a month, and John looked at me one day and he says, how you doing? Because he checks in with me because he's, was on medication too. And he just looked over at me and goes, how you doing? I said, he goes, emotionally and mentally, how you doing? I said, I'm doing okay. I'm doing good. I'm peaceful, which for me at the time meant I was peaceful. There was no ups and downs. I was just status quo. That's where I was. So
I'm gonna go check on the dog. He's eating something.
he's eating something he's not supposed to be eating. I can guarantee it. But anyway, so I was, status quo, and he said, you don't feel muted or anything. And I said, no, I'm good. I'm good. And then, so that marinated for a little while, and it kept coming up in my consciousness, and it kept coming up and kept coming up. And I kept digging a little deeper and digging a little deeper. And finally I went, how do I really feel? Or do I feel at all? Am I feeling anything? And I realized that, yeah, I am muted. I don't feel any depression, but I don't feel any joy or anything like that either. I'm just basically straight across. It's just status quo. I'm not feeling anything deep at all. I'm just baseline. So I decided, maybe I should. And by this time he had already gone through his major withdrawal symptoms. So I had seen him go through withdrawal. So I was already a little gun shy about, stopping what I was doing, because I was on the same SNRIs that he was on. Well, I was on an SNRI, but not the same one he was on. But I hadn't been on it for a long time, and I was taking an extremely low dose of it. So I knew I wasn't going to be that bad. So I decided, well, you know what? I think I want to stop taking the Cymbalta. I'm going to keep taking the one that I didn't take at night for the night sweats, because that helps with the night sweats, and it's got a very short half-life, and it doesn't affect me, my emotions during the day. It's just for the night sweats, and it works just fine. So I decided I would go off the Cymbalta, and today is day 3, right?
4.
Today is day 4. And it is amazing. It's like somebody had turned on the switch on my emotions. It's like night and day. It's like I can almost all of a sudden I can feel happy. All of a sudden we were sitting watching TV and I was laughing out loud. When before we would sit and watch TV and something was funny and I would chuckle, but I wouldn't belly laugh out loud. And now all of a sudden I'm belly laughing out loud, and I can converse and be involved in a conversation, and really be involved in the conversation instead of forcing myself to be involved in a conversation, which is what I was having to do before. So this has been my experience, and I haven't really experienced any kind of withdrawals. A little bit of dizziness. I tried to do hot yoga the other day. Day before yesterday, I tried to do hot yoga,
That
and
is what I call
looked like a drunken sailor. I did more laughing than yoga, but it was nice. It's been wonderful. I've really enjoyed the experience. I'm not saying that people should not experience these medications, because for some people it is drastically needed. And I think for some people they're needed in that short time. They're needed in those short bursts because they need that experience. They need to have their reset button hit. And that's what that medication, some of those medications I think are good for, is to hit that reset button, to readjust, to put them back into a better frame of mind so that they can deal with what they're dealing with, and then take them off of it. I don't think for some people it's a long-term fix. It's a short-term. This is temporary until you can find other ways to deal with what is going on. This is going to help while you meditate, while you take therapy, while you do other mediums to help get you through what you're going through. And then once you're able to do that, you get off the medication. I think that is important for a lot of people to understand, that some people need this for long term because they
Or
just
life.
Yeah, or life. But for other people, this is just a short-term fix.
Well, that's remember, this is our experience currently with the medications.
And this is
we were on.
very much our opinion.
The problem is that for SSRIs, I won't get into all of them. There's also a bake-in period to where you don't even understand where your baseline is. Am I happy? Am I normal? Fuck, I don't know. Not right now. I feel good. But so it takes a couple months to get to, are you out of the depression zone? And then there's confusion of, oh, this medication's not even right for you. We got to put you on something else. So like me, I went through 3 different ones and then had 2 other ones on top of it. It's too much, man. But in the beginning, when I got sober, my brain was such a mess that the panic attacks and anxiety were out of control. I needed to have a chemical rebalancer, like you're saying. But then you just don't know when you're supposed to come off of it. I hope we're not confusing everyone and being super convoluted.
I'm sure somebody out there is going, what in the fuck are these people talking about?
Yeah, the other thing is when you get on the internet anymore, you go down rabbit holes and like you don't know what it's the beauty and the wickedness of the information that we have. Some people are like, dude, if you quit cold turkey Effexor, you're gonna have withdrawals for like 18 months. Like, oh, maybe you will, but don't scare people on the internet unless you got facts to back it up with.
Plus, there's also the fact that everybody is different. Everybody is going to have their own personal experience with these things.
I think that's the important takeaway here, is that your mileage may vary, and your mileage may vary at different points in your progress too. So it's not
Exactly.
like I'm unique, I'm going to react in this certain way every single time. It's a constant dialogue. It's a constant check-in to, keep your resources stout, to make sure you're having the dialogue and communication and support across to kind of navigate through that. I personally am not on that type of medication, but I struggle with that whole am I depressed, am I not depressed dialogue just as much. And to me it's like the opposite of antidepressants doesn't mean, if you're antidepressed, that does not automatically mean you're happy.
No.
Right? It just, what I'm trying to say is I think you were getting to this point, Judy, and you did articulate this, is like antidepressants can help stabilize if you are just so mired in that state so long that it helps give some sort of reprieve to that, to manage that. The other half of the equation, for me to be happy, I struggled with, this is why I turned to alcohol to self-medicate, is like I felt if I could just mute the depressed, then I would be happy.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? If I could just get rid of the depression, then that means I am ergo happy. What I'm really realizing now with my happiness is to embrace some of that sadness, is to understand that what I mean is understand that this too shall pass. And if I'm sad about something, it was because of my either attachment to it or something that was blocking me from that. And so that in itself is something to be happy about. What I'm trying to say is the duality of the both existing that allowed me to try and embrace my happiness for as much as it could. I could try to seek to avoid pain most of my life, but that just resulted in muting the happiness too.
Until you sober up.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of addicts do. They look for that happy externally.
But it's a journey. It's not. I think you both are hitting on the fact that it's a continuous dialogue. It's a continuous journey to always be looking. That's the fun part.
Life is a garden, baby. Dig it.
Mm-hmm. Keep on keeping on.
Meteor shit.
Don't church it up.
Don't church
Yeah.
it. All right, everyone, we're making Joe Dirt references. Excellent cult following show. Okay, all I got to say to summarize that is fuck. Felt good.
We are past the 7 seconds, so I think we're good.
Man, it is. Good luck to anyone that's going through this. Get a support group. I'm gonna stop. We got other things to get into here, but so much to unpack. Be sure to figure out a way to check in with yourself to see if you've got a baseline of happiness going. It's easier said than done. Don't medicate yourself into zombie land. And like Patrick said, antidepressant doesn't mean you're going to be happy. It means, for me, I was not clinically depressed with suicidal ideation.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't have much more emotion either. So there's a host of things out there. You know what? I've said this before. Unfortunately, it costs $3,000 and a lot of insurance doesn't cover it. But there's a test you can take. It's like a genetic mapping that'll tell you. It'll give you a list of like, hey, these medications are not good for you. It's pretty fascinating. Like it'll tell you a list of opiates, Patrick, and SSRIs, or it'll tell you like aspirin doesn't work for you. You should have. It's this whole thing to give you a chart. I may investigate doing that later on. If someone wants to contribute to my crowdfunding.
You're gonna have a GoFundMe page.
Anyway, thank you, babe, for being super patient. I know I was short. I would not fucking tolerate me. I would not. If I was in your shoes, I would be like, dude, I'm gonna fucking choke you out, man, because your behavior is unacceptable. I felt like my behavior was unacceptable. Last night during dinner, we had Thai food, me, Judy, and Dad, which we haven't had in a long time, from Molly Thai right up the road, Patrick. Our bodies were not used to that.
No.
Did a lot of poo today. A lot. After dinner, I had a very serious conversation with Judy and Dad, and I did give them a heartfelt apology. It's unexcusable, but man.
Well, we understood.
I know, but fuck the.
We appreciated the apology, but we did understand.
Getting very emotional. Yeah. Patrick, thank you for being there for me.
It's part of the process, John. We're not going to be perfect.
Yeah.
And being held to account.
I don't know about
is part of the
you, but I'm
It's part of the growth.
just kidding.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Let's start.
Oh man, we got people joining the chat. Patrick,
nice.
are you on the Podbean?
I got to the main website. I didn't get to the wherever our stuff is.
Look for a Sober Mind. It's in the live stream. Whatever, you don't have to, but there's folks joining the chat.
Let's do this.
Okay. Back to the oddly specific childhood trauma that we've been experiencing.
Michelle said TMI, John.
Michelle, we all poop.
Is that book everybody? What is that book that you read to the kids? Everybody poops.
Everybody
right.
poops.
If you don't, you got an issue.
Poopy.
Poop, huh?
It's all, just let it flow. It's
That's
all
right.
poopy.
Okay.
It's all poopy.
Patrick Tehan, licensed independent child social worker, fascinating dude, fantastic information. Go check him out. We've been listening to the oddly specific childhood trauma issues. Quick recap. I'm going to do this all the time. We went number 1, emotional delay, 2, rushing nowhere, 3, refrigerator buzz, depression, which, I think I've been depressed all of my life, finally getting happy. Being tired is a trigger. Chameleon but don't mix. Last week, on the spot dissociation. we do a recap. Do we want to talk about anything on that note, Patrick? I don't have a lot to discuss.
I think I'm pretty good on that one.
Yeah. I can agree with what he said. That it's weird, especially in situations to where we get called out in public, and then if you're one of those people like me that gets uncomfortable in those situations, it's interesting how we dissociate. Mine is pure internal anxiety. It's pretty rough. Okay, today we're going with number 7. We're going to be talking about or listening to his thoughts on laughing about the pain. I have not seen this. Judy has not seen it, so we'll be reacting to it at the end. Did a very harsh stopping of the music there. Let's go to the browser view. And here we go.
Have to present, or what happens to us when we are the focus. Talking to them about specific examples of being on the spot at home growing up is going to be helpful too. Moving on to number 7 is what I call laughing about the pain. This is a subtle social issue that comes up when we're expressing a bit of ourselves or a bit of our story. What this looks like is when we jokingly talk about our abusive or horrific childhood situations in kind of an overly casual or kind of funny way. You'll know when this happens when others are like, whoa, like, you okay? Like, while the survivor isn't fully connected with the severity about what they're talking about. And they're not taking themselves seriously, because that's a thing. And I think our inner child pops up in these situations and starts to tell the truth about what happened to us, which comes out sideways, which is another thing on the list. We don't know how to take the truth about what happened to us seriously because no one else did again. Some examples, when we might be kind of saying like, yeah, well, they dropped me off at college, but didn't tell me they didn't pay for any of it. And I had to sleep in a dorm hallway for 4 days and they wouldn't return my calls. Ha. Or, well, my mom dropped me off at my uncle's for babysitting, telling me to not go into the bathroom alone with him. Isn't that wild? There's a charge to that kind of expression. And we are, uncontrollably kind of bringing humor into it because I think we don't really know how to feel about it or how to talk about it otherwise. Where this might come from, I find this one to be of growing up in a highly toxic family wrapped up in some extreme neglect. That tends to be in my mind when I see a client doing this. And I think it can also come from, I was doing this as well. So I think it can also come from growing up in a highly caustic or sarcastic family, like the anti-love family from my 7 types of toxic family systems, where there's really kind of a nastiness to the day-to-day life, where the family scoffs at emotional experiences and looks for opportunities to make fun of emotions, make fun of kids, make fun of vulnerability. It's really quite gross when you really think about it. Or parents could live in a sort of F my life kind of existence, and they don't take themselves seriously as well. So some treatment recommendations. Be mindful of this tendency when we do this, because when we do this, we don't walk away feeling good about ourselves either. We just kind of go like, oh, that was a little bit awkward, or that was a little bit weird. Try to look at it as a symptom from your family of origin, abuse. Start talking about what happened to you a bit more seriously. No one benefits from making fun of your story, especially you. It actually creates distance when we do this. Find some supportive people where you can practice discussing your emotions in real time and learn how to actually feel the anger or feel the grief instead of just kind of making fun of how bad it was. Moving on to
I like where this one's going for sure.
Okay, I didn't mean to chuckle when he was giving those examples because they're pretty drastic. But holy cow.
Sorry, I looked at Patrick. I felt like we were in trouble. He's like, drop me off at my uncle's. Like, don't go in the bathroom
with him. Oh,
I mean, that laugh response is very sarcasm is my second language, if not my first.
Yeah, that was like I was not expecting that. That was just out of the blue. Whoa.
And that laughing. I have some thoughts I want to formulate, but I want you guys to share yours first.
I have
reaction to it.
I've done it. I've done it many times.
There's a fine balance for me on that. I wear my heart on my sleeve. I probably give people way more information than they want to know. I think that might be my coping mechanism too. Sometimes, like, just get it out there. So this person knows exactly who they're dealing with. But there are, oh man, that's I'm gonna need to ponder some stuff on that, because what he said is 100% accurate with me too. I do make fun of situations that are hurtful and traumatic sometimes, because that is my coping mechanism, I guess. The more that I've been sober and working on my mental health, the more serious I take me. When I was drunk all the time, I don't think that spiritual capacity was there enough. So I would, like, it's like I don't know. I bet my friends are worse than me sometimes. I bet, I look at that guy. He's always drunk, I was about to throw out a name of one of our friends. Had to catch myself. But it's those interactions, just the laughing it off, that at the time I would think, oh, well, this is a healthy way to cope with it.
Yeah, I would think that too. That this is a healthy way, because I can laugh at it now. That I'm dealing with it in a healthy way.
Yeah. So I was all over the place, as you guys know I am, but where I want to end up with that is there is a fine line, I think, for me, and that is sometimes you have to laugh at yourself. Yes, that's healthy. Versus just laughing at all of your problems and making a joke out of it, when you should probably, take a little bit of time to address those things that you're making fun of.
Realizing
now that I'm talking about it, it's almost like, hey, don't be a bully of your own fucking emotions. Don't just kick that shit around. Maybe take a time out. Do some, and see, this is where it gets tough, Patrick. Do some internal reflecting.
Yeah.
And really face, what are you making fun of about you?
What's so funny about that?
Yeah.
So this is a very powerful tool, because to me, I love humor. In fact, I love a lot of dark humor and self-deprecating humor. But there's also just humor and levity in everyday life. And sometimes when you're trying to vocalize emotions, you're right. Airing it out and realizing how absurd it is can reframe your perspective to the point, like, why was I being so concerned over that? That was just silly, right? That, the other side of that coin is using humor as a disguise to personally gaslight your own feelings. And we use humor because we see, like, if I'm acting in a positive nature towards it, then that's the mask, right? If you give it that positive veneer, that, like, oh, that was funny, haha, it is literally setting up a wall to let people know, like, because being happy and humorous is accepted in society, like, it's less abrasive, and the fact that you don't have to turn inward on that. I think that it's literally us saying, like, oh, I'm letting everybody know that I'm not bothered by this and I'm happy, and it doesn't bother me. So we don't need to go there. Okay. Let's move on, type of thing. It's literally the tears and the laughter type jokes that can really be kind of cutting. I did this when I was drinking. I'm like, who needs therapy when I got Jack Daniels? Ha 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 ha.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, he's like, whoa, let's do you need to talk about something?
Yeah. Why do I need to talk? I have a whole case of wine.
Right. So it is a fine line, John, because humor is very important when we approach these, having the levity to understand some of the absurdity, but we also need to allow ourselves not to give space for our own emotions to feel valid about that and not dismissive first. So it's almost as if laughing about the emotions, I mean, that is literally a taught reaction. You've learned this sarcasm from your people that you model after. You're gaslighting your own feelings into being less than or not what they actually are, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Michelle says when she shares an Al-Anon, she always uses humor to lighten severity of the past. There's a quality
There's
or
quite
a quiet bit of truth in using sarcasm as a coping mechanism. She grew up in sarcasm, and we did. We grew up with a lot of sarcasm in our family. Most of the quips that were humorous quips when we would hang around family, most of it was sarcastic quips. So we grew up with a lot of sarcasm.
You know, another word for sarcasm is facetiousness, right?
Mm-hmm.
Facetiousness comes from the Greek word meaning to tear flesh.
That's
So
lovely.
And it's so there, how, again, like everything, we need to be able to give space to look at our intent on it. You know, while on the surface, looking for levity in a situation is, I think, appropriate to a certain degree, but diminishing validation of feelings, you know, for that recourse is not acceptable. And many of us haven't learned that. In fact, it's become the coping mechanism. I mean, look at, I mean, you don't have to go far to see some of the best comedians around have made careers off of this type of approach on addressing, you know, like, ha ha ha, oh, fuck me, you know, for thinking this or doing this, or, you know, I'm sure I'll think of some other great ones later, but, you know, this is, it's very, I don't know, I have a lot of thoughts on it because, like I said, sarcasm is very close to me. Like it's such an easy ward when you feel like something gets close, you can react almost viciously with a thin veneer of like humor and happiness, that it's the reaction itself is very confusing. Like, don't go in the bathroom with Uncle whoever, you know, like, you're like, wait, what? And I mean, you guys chuckled at it yourself too. It's like, wait, that's a serious fucking issue.
Yeah.
You know, and we're like, just, you know, here's a little nugget.
Yeah. Here's a little side note.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just wraps up the confusion of the feelings, like, you know, bringing levity to, or not even levity, but being dismissive in like a joking manner to like a very serious situation. You know, like when you try to look back on it, you're like, wait, I was just laughing at that, and that's super serious. How do I really feel about that? And it leaves you even more confused, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, and if you take that a little bit further, if that's your mentality for that, then how are you dealing with the rest of your life? How are you dealing with other dramatic situations in your life that are happening? Are you dealing with it the same way, with just we'll just laugh at it and shove it off to the side and not, you know, actually focus and deal with it? And as far as the comedy goes, if you look at a lot of comedy, it's basically laughing at folly, either self-folly or somebody else's folly. That's pretty much what the comedy is. Not all comedy, but a good portion of it is.
Yeah, but the more I think about this, the more I realized I've been confused about the balance of it. You know, because this goes back to, well, when I was in the Army, especially in the infantry, the worse something is, the harder you make fun of it and laugh at it, because that's a cultural thing. Because that's how you deal with stuff. You don't want... Guys, if you ever see an infantry soldier on the front lines crying about his mommy issues, it's not a good day to be at war, you know? So you want to... Everything bad that happens is something that you should chuckle about, and you're going to be drinking with your buddies and talking about the horrific things that you've been doing in a very funny manner. It's a complete not good way of coping with stuff.
I guess for the military, I mean, you would have to have that kind of mentality to be.
Do you have to?
Well,
you got to figure out a way to stop it at some point, not in the heat of battle. You know, okay, that's just an example, but where I'm going with that is that for me that spilled over a lot into how I've dealt with a ton of issues, and I'm confused about it now. You know, I've had people tell me, John, you got to take things a little bit more seriously. I'm like, you know, you got to laugh at life. You don't take it all seriously. I think I've lied to myself and other people about that. Maybe, you know, we got to take some more time to reflect on, look, I always tell myself I'm trying to deal with me and taking a step inside and dealing with stuff. But then am I? Do I have a separate box where I put the don't go in the bathroom with your uncle moment? And then
it is exactly that. The more I think about it, it is wrapping those feelings and emotions and those incidents in some sort of a pickling solution. Like it's putting those in stasis, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, all right, here's the problem. We're just gonna neatly wrap it in this funny veneer and just stick it over there so we don't have to deal with it. And then we look at it, it's just, you know, I see it, it's hilarious, ha 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 ha, but it's still there, right? We haven't processed it, you know, because think about it, if you truly process the emotions that you had with it, you know, how would your humor or how would you approach that situation elsewise in the future? I mean, would that be one of your, you know,
pickled brain in the corner that says
yeah.
Abby normal? Yeah.
I'm gonna start paying more attention to this. It's the cliche of there's a time and place for everything, and there's, you know, like your mom says here, I also grew up in sarcasm. Thankfully now I hear my initial response before and stop my response.
Yeah, I've heard a lot from both my mom Maggie and my dad Kellen that when they grew up, there was a lot of sarcasm and snide comments. And I mean, my dad would tell me that his mom would say that he is strong as an ox and twice as dumb. I mean, that's
and he would say that a lot in the last couple of years. Sorry to interrupt. To the point where Judy's like, quit saying that. You're not dumb.
Yeah.
Quit being so dumb.
My dad belongs to Mensa. He's not dumb.
Yeah, all of those cliche little things that our parents said us, things like that.
My mom said I have a face for radio, right? You know.
Yeah. Stupid comments like that. You know, it's nice little rim shot there. But it's those little comments that we laugh at. You know, because it's supposed to be funny, but it's very demeaning, and it shouldn't be funny. It's supposed to be funny, but it shouldn't be funny.
You know where those stem from? The more I think about it, is the sneakiness of the doubter, the critic.
Yes.
You know, I remember effing up at a job, even if it's a small task. You know, this comes from our last conversation about, like, you know, when we were shitting all over ourselves, or, you know, like, oh, bad Patrick, you know, you should be better at this task, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you mess up during a task, then instead of just coming out and saying directly bad Patrick, you know, it'd be like, well, at least I got another job lined up, or, you know, or like, I can always go do XYZ, and you make a demeaning job in your head, right? There's so-and-so's always hiring, right? So not only do you diminish yourself, you know, you diminish others in reference of that too, but that's kind of like, you know, that doubter just wrapping that in that veneer, being like, whoa, pump the brakes, you know.
Didn't we all decide we had to be all little Bob Rosses?
Yep.
Our happy little mistakes.
You know, you know, so let's go back to the Bob Ross thing, and that's why I think his comments of like a happy little tree or a happy little mistake are so powerful, because of course he's not going to go, oh, fucking Bob Ross, that's an awful mistake, and just rip up the painting. We talked about that last week.
Now I got to start over and waste a paper.
He's also not going to be there and drop a tree down and be like, well, there's always pottery, you know.
Yeah.
You know, like he's not going to drop a sarcastic tone like that.
Yeah.
Right? Or he's not going to go, well, maybe I should open up the paint by numbers kit next time.
Yeah.
You curly-haired fucker.
Yeah, right. It's the same thing, only it's a little bit more disingenuous because it's wrapped in that dismissive. It's passive aggressive towards self.
Yes.
Very.
Yes.
And it takes practice. Like, you know, I gave the example of Patrick, you want to chime in the practice?
No, go ahead.
It's we can't reinvent ourselves with the stroke of a paintbrush, if you will.
No, it took us this many years to get this way.
Nailed it.
You know, nailed it. It's the reaction of, you know, the example I gave last week is I was welding these two pieces on blah, blah, blah. And I lifted up my helmet and I looked at it, I'm like, that's a fucking horrible weld, you know. It's that immediate response. Like, I have to take a step back and go, hold on, man, you're not. That's a perfectly fine weld. It's doing exactly what it's supposed to. You're not a professional welder. By the way, you weld maybe once every 8 months, so you get zero practice. This is your practice. But it's those where it's immediately like fucking horrible weld. Where do you got to figure out a way to give yourself pause on that?
Yeah. And it does take practice. I mean, because your initial response is to criticize, because that's just what you've been doing for so long that your initial response is, oh, geez, there we go. I fucked up again. Instead of, okay, well, you know, hey, we'll try again. It gives me another chance to see if I can do a better job.
I think that the laughing at, I think we made a direct correlation between the dismissal and the critic. I think that's obvious how they are both originating from the same place. I think the laughing at and the sarcasm is even more insidious, though, because, you know, when we do the work, of course, the inner critic is the first one because he's so vocal and opposite of. It's easy to say, like, you can see him literally attacking if you know, when you give it space and be like, you should have done better, you're such a piece of shit or whatever. You can easily highlight that type of dialogue and say, like, whoa, you know, that one was kind of the first one for me to see. The sarcasm one is so insidious because it comes wrapped in that veneer of humor. And haha, you know. I just had a thought. It is literally the inner monologue. Haha, just a prank, bro. Chill out.
Just joking.
Just a prank. And it's like, all right, you know, why don't we use my, you know, self-confidence, you know, as a, you know, punching bag here. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. Just a prank, bro. Don't take it serious. And in reality, over time, those comments do build up, you know, because they come from the same place as the critic, and over time they just build up. You're just becoming more accepting of them just because they're wrapped in that shitty humor veneer.
Yeah. Nice analogy.
Yeah. Boom. Top of the hour.
Woohoo. Nailed it.
I just realized, Patrick, I don't know if any of I think only our mics are coming through on the pod being live. That's okay. That's not a big deal. We'll figure it out. So if anyone ever joined, they're probably like, oh, there's a staggering amount of silent times on this show.
Right?
While Patrick's talking. Like, who are these two other people talking to? It's okay. The only way we can try it is live. Okay. This has been an awesome conversation.
Yeah.
Go, Patrick, do you want to wrap? Are we wrapping? Do you want to continue discussing some stuff?
We can wrap. You know, I want to make sure that we hit on, you know, you'll have to help me remember his approaches to it. You know, he talked about giving space. for really looking at it. So these laughing at incidences are wayfinders. When they show up, that means that, something is being protected, right? So giving space to explore, and then as well, like, let's not forget the humor. And for me, I can go off on another subject about this at another time, but a good tool that I've been reaching for recently is trying to approach each situation with unconditional happiness. And what that means is, we don't react to people and events. We react to our perception of. So events and people and items are always going to happen, So is there room for us to find... All right, let me try and make this quick jump here, a little meta thought. So
take your time, Patrick.
Yeah, there's no time limit.
Yeah, doing X, Y, and Z is not going to make you happy. Holding your condition of your being based on a set of actions to be somewhere is not going to happen. Saying if I make 6 figures, or if I make 7 figures, I will be happy, or if I get this house, I will be happy. If I do this with my partner, I will be happy. Happy is a state of being that we can be at right now in every situation. And that doesn't mean unconditionally denying and invalidating other feelings. Sometimes it is finding happiness in those feelings. And I talked about this earlier, being able to retreat within and say, like, oh, I'm sad that, my emotions are all over the place. But, if you give yourself space and say, like, look, I appreciate my SO gave me space for this. They recognize that I was struggling issues. That makes me so happy that I had that support their system. Happiness does not have to be devoid of all those other negative feelings that we associate with. Just because we have negative feelings doesn't mean happiness can't exist alongside that at the same time.
I think gratitude works in there quite nicely.
Absolutely.
Being in that state of gratitude, even when you're in that funk, just to search for things that you're grateful for, even if it's the smallest thing in the world. Just being in that state of gratitude helps to, kind of shift things around, so that you can, be more receptive to happiness and joy.
That's right. So to tie it back with our wayfinder of sarcasm here, and that laughing, it is protecting something, but at the same time, there's happiness in there. And all we have to do is allow ourselves the space to explore the complexity of those emotions. Just because it is protecting doesn't mean it is all inherently bad or evil in there. We just have to afford ourselves the courage to look within. That's all. And that's kind of what, I want people to know, like, that are like listening or hearing this and are like, oh shit, I have a really sarcastic attitude too. That means I'm a shitty person, or like I'm coping wrongly with this. You're coping how you're coping, like you're coping to survive.
Yeah.
Right. It's okay. How awesome is that you look to happiness or humor for that. We may have held it wrongly, but that's ultimately a strength in itself. So give yourself the space, look inward, and see if you can find that happiness as well in those situations.
Yeah. And
gratitude.
That's right. And your mom says happiness is a choice. I would like to believe that, Mom, but I think that's a tough one. I think it's a little bit more complex than that. I've been choosing to be happy for a long time. That shit is hard to obtain sometimes.
Michelle says, happiness is an inside job. I've found happiness in my core no matter what is going on.
Yeah.
Yep.
So remember,
it's all part of the journey.
Yes.
Yep.
Remember, just to all the listeners out there that what we're talking about, I feel like maybe I don't want to shit on anyone else's struggles and or journeys with this stuff. We're just talking about how we are, us three, with a lot of this stuff. So we're not saying this is how you should be. Again, with to Patrick's point, with the sarcasm. Hey, man, whatever coping mechanism you've got, continue to cope. What I'm saying for me is I need to maybe reevaluate this laughing at pain. I think I've been doing well with it, but take a little bit better care and feeding of my introspection instead of just sloughing it off. Yeah.
I think, I think for me is which I'm doing a lot recently is to not be so, to turn down the inner critic.
Yeah.
And to turn up my inner cheerleader.
Yes. Easier said than done. It takes so much practice.
Just like drinking, and we're not gonna. It took us 20 years of drinking. It's not gonna take us overnight to stop. So it took me 50 years to get where I'm at. It's not gonna be an overnight process.
I know.
Sucking at something is the first step to getting good at something.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. I know, but it takes the level of effort is mind-boggling. It really is. To look, I can weld pieces of metal together.
I know. See, right? There you go. That's
I know.
How you
I'm trying to absorb that, but the first reaction is maybe it's because we have too much access to information too. Like that's not the wavy bead that I saw on the world's greatest welder or whatever. Anyway, keep on pushing, folks. Keep on keeping on.
Keep on keeping on.
Remember, if you think you have found an expensive meteor, it could also be a frozen piece of airplane poop.
Poopy.
That's a big old chunk of poopy. We just did another Joe Dirt reference.
Yeah, that's why Daddy named you Joe Dirt instead of Nunamaker.
Be all right as long as we got happiness in our mind. Okay. We are going to wrap up this episode. This has been an epic discussion.
Be kind to yourself.
Not
Be
yet.
patient with yourself. Oh, I thought we were there yet.
Hold on, I gotta give. This is a long outro. I've found suckers like 3 minutes, so this is our opportunity to get to go ahead and talk about some other things. So reminder time. Road to 500 subscribers giveaway. Rode Pod mic, fantastic microphone. This thing literally weighs 2.2 pounds. It's super heavy.
Is that a single kilogram for the
Yeah.
non-freedom humans people?
I'm sorry. Yes, that is a kilogram. We're don't get me started on the metric system about how easy it is. And the Elgato Wave XLR, fantastic interface and a fantastic microphone to get you started. Once we hit 500 subscribers, we will do a random choosing.
Drawing.
You will have to have been a subscriber and have left a comment on one of these videos of when you joined or subscribed to Sober Mind. Man, this has probably been the most fruitful.
No, we've had some good ones. This has been a good one. But we've had some.
I'm hyper conscious now that I haven't been sequestered in Effexor land.
Mired in medication.
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm gonna really keep an eye on myself, though. Judy and I will keep a close watch on our emotions and making sure that we're taking care of ourselves.
Yeah, I feel amazing.
Yeah.
And when it's time to build the fort, I'll bring the crowns and the construction paper for the signs.
Yep, we're doing 2-code, 50 amp sub panel out in that workshop. Man, we can make a studio out there. No, scope creep stops. That's what okay. All right, let's go ahead and wrap it up. Judy and I'm getting ready to eat. Then we're going to go up to, we bought 2 Oscar cichlids for our big 125 freshwater. We're going to be in there. So we got to go pick up those 2 bad boys. Then we're going to come back, do some gaming. We're back to Elden Ring. Hey,
It's just a good game.
Electronic Arts, way to release an epic video game that's fucking unplayable. Good job.
Yeah.
Jedi Survivor.
Talking to you,
Jesus
Jedi.
Christ, man. The fuck?
Even Hogwarts is better than that.
Hogwarts, yeah. Like, that's how you do. You can do an open world. You just don't stop. Poor developers. Talk about emotional issues you all have. Yeah, I
Wow.
said it.
Wow.
Okay. Next week, crying valve. Can't start, can't stop.
Nice.
We didn't say it all in the beginning. Babe, you talked about how your week is. I love you very much.
I love you too.
Thanks for your patience. Patrick, we love you very much.
Love you, Patrick.
Love you guys.
Thank you for being a part of this. And
Thank you, everybody, for watching and subscribing. We really appreciate you.
Yep. Thanks for all of your support. It's been awesome. Thanks for the comments. That really, really helped me out the other day. All right. And on that note, we will see you guys.
Be kind to yourself. Be patient with yourself. If you know anybody who is having suicidal thoughts or ideation, refer them to the 988 suicide hotline. It's if you know anybody who is thinking about if you or somebody you know of is wanting to look into quitting drinking alcohol or taking drugs, look into Al-Anon. It's a great group. They will. They're just awesome people. We have both of their tags up at the top. So there you go.
Nice, babe. Way to take it over. I completely forgot. Michelle would have been pissed too. She's like, what? You don't fucking... I got the graphics up there on prominent display. Patrick, maybe do you want to go run James A. Reed 5K loop tomorrow? We'll take Ozzy over there. Hope he doesn't puke.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. I need to check in on the schedule. I think we got some things on the docket today, and I know a few things tomorrow. So
Yeah, we got a wedding to go to tomorrow at 1:30.
We do.
And then they're having a reception at Llewellyn's at 6:30. We are not going. Not because we don't want to go, but who? Oh, I was about
different strokes for different folks.
That's
John.
right.
Yep.
6:30 on a Sunday night. Not my cup of tea. Sorry. Shit, I forgot Brian and Laura watch this. Hey, I've said too much. I'm going to edit this out right away.
No, you're not.
All right. Bye, y'all.